Introduction. The world is full of unsolved mysteries that intrigue people and keep them wondering for decades or even centuries. These mysteries range from the disappearance of individuals to the identity of infamous criminals. One such mystery that has captured the attention of people for over a century is the identity of Jack the Ripper. Jack the Ripper was an infamous serial killer who terrorized the streets of Whitechapel, London in 1888. He was responsible for the murder of at least 5 women, all of whom were prostitutes. Over the years, several theories have been proposed regarding the identity of Jack the Ripper, but to this day, the mystery remains unsolved. In this article, we will explore the history of Jack the Ripper, his victims, the investigation, and the various theories surrounding his identity. History of Jack the Ripper. The name Jack the Ripper was coined by the media during the time of the murders. The killer was believed to have committed 5 murders in the Whitechapel area of London between August and November of 1888. The victims were all prostitutes who were found with their throats slashed and their bodies mutilated. The first victim, Mary Ann Nichols, was murdered on August 31, 1888. Her body was found in Bucks Row, a narrow street in Whitechapel. The second victim, Annie Chapman, was found dead in the backyard of 29 Hanbury Street on September 8, 1888. The third victim, Elizabeth Stride, was murdered on September 30, 1888. Her body was found in Dutfield's yard. The fourth victim, Catherine Eddowes, was murdered on the same night as Stride. Her body was found in Mitre Square. The fifth and final victim, Mary Jane Kelly, was murdered on November 9, 1888. Her body was found in her room on Dorset Street. All of the victims except for Elizabeth Stride had their throats slashed. The bodies of Chapman, Eddowes, and Kelly were mutilated. The killings were very brutal, and the killer seemed to have extensive knowledge of anatomy. Investigation. The police investigation into the murders was led by Inspector Frederick Aberline of Scotland Yard. The investigation was hampered by the lack of forensic evidence, and the police had to rely on witness statements and the medical reports of the victims. During the investigation, the police received several letters claiming to be from the killer. The most famous of these letters was the Dear Boss letter, which was received by the Central News Agency on September 27, 1888. The letter was signed Jack the Ripper and contained details of the murders that only the killer could have known. The investigation attracted a lot of attention from the media, and many people became obsessed with the case. The police questioned over 2,000 people and arrested several suspects, but none of them were charged with the murders. Theories. Over the years, several theories have been proposed regarding the identity of Jack the Ripper. Some of the most popular theories include 1. Aaron Kosminski. Aaron Kosminski was a Polish immigrant who lived in Whitechapel at the time of the murders. He was identified as a suspect by Inspector Aberline, but there was not enough evidence to charge him. In 2014, DNA evidence was found on a shawl believed to have belonged to Catherine Eddowes, and it was claimed that the DNA matched that of Kosminski. 2. Francis Tumblety. Francis Tumblety was an American quack doctor who was in London at the time of the murders. He was arrested in connection with the murders, but he was released due to lack of evidence. Some people believe that Tumblety was the killer because he had a hatred of women and a fascination with anatomy. 3. Montague John Druitt. One of the more popular theories is that Jack the Ripper was actually Montague John Druitt, a barrister who committed suicide shortly after the last known murder in 1888. Druitt had a troubled past and was known to have been a suspect in the murders at the time, but there is no concrete evidence linking him to the crimes. Jack the Ripper is one of the most famous unsolved mysteries of all time. The identity of the serial killer who terrorized the streets of Whitechapel in 1888 remains unknown, and there are many theories about who he might have been. One theory is that Jack the Ripper was a man named Aaron Kosminski, a Polish immigrant who lived in Whitechapel at the time of the murders. Kosminski was a suspect at the time, and some modern forensic evidence has linked him to the crime scene. However, this evidence is controversial, and there is no definitive proof that Kosminski was the killer. Another theory is that Jack the Ripper was actually a woman, specifically Mary Piercy. Piercy was convicted of murdering her lover's wife and child in 1890, and some people believe that she may have been responsible for the Whitechapel murders as well. Jack the Ripper is one of the most notorious serial killers in history, and his identity has remained a mystery for over 130 years. There have been many theories and suspects over the years, but no one has been definitively proven to be the killer. Other theories suggest that the killer was a member of the royal family, a doctor, or even a woman. Despite numerous investigations and countless books and documentaries on the case, the true identity of Jack the Ripper remains a mystery. There are many other theories about Jack the Ripper's identity, including that he was a doctor, a member of the royal family, or a Freemason. However, none of these theories have been proven, and the case remains unsolved to this day. In conclusion, the mystery of Jack the Ripper's identity continues to captivate the public's imagination more than a century after the murders were committed. While many theories have been proposed, there is no definitive proof of who the killer was, and it is likely that the truth will never be known. If you like this video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, share, and like for more updates on mysteries.